Hello friends, this expedition is brought to you by USA Coins History. In the summer heat of Philadelphia, when the capital of the young republic still smelled of brick dust, horse sweat, and river mud, a silver disc came into being with a burden far heavier than its weight. The Draped Bust Dollar of 1795 did not begin as a collectible, nor even as money in the modern sense. It began as a test of whether the United States could claim authority over its own image, its own commerce, and its own future. The coin did not speak, yet every hand that touched it felt the tension pressed into its metal. The nation was only a few years removed from revolution, and victory had not brought clarity. Paper promises issued during the war had lost trust. Spanish dollars still ruled daily trade. British influence lingered in ports and banks. When Congress authorized a national mint, the decision was less about convenience and more about sovereignty. A country that could not strike its own silver could not fully govern its economy. That pressure fell quietly onto the mint in Philadelphia, a small operation watched closely by politicians who understood how easily the experiment could fail. The silver dollar carried special risk. Smaller coins might circulate unnoticed, but a dollar was a statement. It had to match the Spanish milled dollar in weight and purity, or merchants would reject it. It had to look refined enough to command respect abroad, yet familiar enough to be trusted at home. Every fraction of an ounce mattered. Every line cut into steel dies carried political meaning. Inside the mint, machinery rattled and stalled. Rolling mills broke. Presses failed. Skilled engravers were rare, and mistakes were costly. Chief engraver Robert Scott worked under constant scrutiny, expected to produce a national symbol with limited tools and little time. His first attempt at a silver dollar, the flowing hair design, had already drawn criticism. Liberty appeared wild, even anxious, her hair loose and unsettled. Some in government saw in that image an uncomfortable mirror of the nation itself. By late 1795, the pressure to refine the design became unavoidable. The dollar needed to look stable, controlled, respectable in European eyes. Scott turned to a different model of liberty, one inspired by a portrait painted by Gilbert Stuart of Anne William Bingham, a prominent figure in Philadelphia society. This liberty was composed. Her hair was tied and draped, her gaze steady. The shift was deliberate. The Republic wanted to appear grown. When the Draped Bust Dollar emerged, it carried that intention quietly but firmly. On the obverse, Liberty faced right, her bust draped in fabric that suggested classical restraint rather than rebellion. Stars surrounded her, representing the states, uneven in their spacing, hinting at the Union still settling into shape. The date 1795 sat below, plain and unadorned. On the reverse, an eagle stood within a wreath, slender and almost cautious, not yet the fierce symbol it would later become. The words United States of America encircled the scene, not shouted, simply stated. Yet even as the design sought calm, the reality behind it remained strained. Silver bullion had to be deposited by private individuals, often merchants or bankers, who expected coins returned promptly. Delays meant lost trust. The mint could not purchase silver on its own. It relied on confidence that did not yet exist. Each draped bust dollar struck represented cooperation between private wealth and public authority, a fragile arrangement that could collapse if either side hesitated. Production numbers remained modest. The mint did not flood the market. It could not. Equipment limits, staffing shortages, and constant adjustments slowed output. Many dollars went directly into commerce, where they were spent, hoarded, melted, or exported. Survival was never guaranteed. The coin was born into motion, not preservation. Beyond the mint walls, the political climate sharpened. Alexander Hamilton had left the Treasury earlier that year, but his financial system remained controversial. Central banking, federal assumption of state debts, and the power of a national currency divided leaders and citizens alike. To supporters, the silver dollar symbolized order and credibility. To critics, it hinted at elite control and distant authority. The Draped Bust Dollar passed through these arguments silently, its value debated far beyond its face. In taverns and counting houses, people weighed the coin in their palms. Some tested its ring against wood. Others compared it to Spanish pieces, checking edges and heft. Trust came slowly. A dollar that failed even once could poison acceptance for years. The stakes were personal as well as national. As 1795 drew toward its end, the draped bust dollar stood at a crossroads. It had replaced an earlier design, but not the doubts that surrounded American money. Its silver content met the law. Its appearance met expectations. What remained uncertain was whether the nation behind it could sustain the promise pressed into its surface. The coin did not know its future. It could not foresee scarcity, auction lights, or velvet trays. In that moment, it was simply doing its job, moving from hand to hand, carrying the weight of a republic still deciding what it wanted to become. The draped bust dollar did not enter a calm world. It entered a government still arguing with itself, a mint still learning how not to break, and an economy that trusted foreign silver more than its own flag. Every decision around the coin carried risk, and most of those decisions were made under pressure, not confidence. Inside the Philadelphia Mint, the process of striking a single silver dollar was slow and uncertain. The machinery was crude by European standards. The presses required careful timing and strong arms. Dies cracked often. When they did, production stopped. Repairs took days, sometimes weeks. Each pause strained relationships with bullion depositors who had already handed over valuable silver and now waited, impatient and suspicious. Those depositors were not passive partners. They were merchants, bankers, and traders who understood leverage. If the mint delayed too long, they could withdraw future deposits. Without deposits, no coins could be struck. Congress had authorized the mint, but it had not given it the freedom to act like a commercial enterprise. That constraint shaped every move. The draped bust dollar was meant to stabilize trust, yet its very production exposed weakness. Officials worried about consistency. Slight variations in strike quality appeared from batch to batch. Some coins showed weak details in Liberty's hair. Others displayed uneven stars. The eagle on the reverse often looked thin, almost cautious, its wings narrow, its posture restrained. These were not artistic choices so much as mechanical compromises. Outside observers noticed. European traders compared American dollars against Spanish and Mexican pieces that had circulated for decades. Those coins were uniform. Familiar, accepted without debate. The draped bust dollar still had to prove itself with every transaction. Any rumor of underweight silver or sloppy workmanship threatened rejection. At the same time, political pressure intensified. The Federalist vision of a strong central government clashed with fears of concentrated power. Money sat at the center of that argument. A national silver dollar was not just currency, it was evidence of authority. Critics watched closely for failure. Supporters feared embarrassment. Mint director Elias Boudinot stood between these forces. He believed in the project, but belief did not fix broken presses. He wrote letters, requested funds, argued for improvements. Congress listened, then delayed. The young government had many priorities, and money for money-making ranked lower than defense and diplomacy. The coin paid the price for that hesitation. Production of the draped bust dollar remained limited. Some years saw only a fraction of what demand required. Rather than dominate circulation, the coin shared space with foreign silver, sometimes being discounted, sometimes hoarded, sometimes exported. It existed, but it did not yet rule. Then came the problem of design continuity. The draped bust dollar of 1795 was not the final form. Almost immediately, discussions began about changes. The reverse eagle in particular drew criticism. It lacked strength. It lacked symbolism. In a nation still asserting itself on the world stage, that weakness felt unacceptable. Changes meant new dies. New dies meant downtime. Downtime meant fewer coins. Each improvement carried a cost the mint could barely absorb. Still, the pressure mounted. By 1798, the heraldic eagle would replace the earlier reverse, transforming the look of the silver dollar entirely. That decision effectively split the draped bust series into eras, complicating identity and continuity. For the 1795 issue, this transition froze it in an awkward place. It was the refined replacement of the flowing hair design, yet it was already considered incomplete. It represented improvement, but also hesitation. Collectors today see that tension clearly. At the time, It translated into uncertainty. Economic stress added weight. The panic of 1796 and 1797 tightened credit and exposed fragile banking networks. Confidence wavered. Hard money became more desirable, yet harder to obtain. Ironically, that increased the importance of the silver dollar, while limiting its availability. People wanted it, but could not rely on it. As silver dollars moved through commerce, many disappeared. Some were melted for bullion when silver prices shifted. Others traveled overseas, where American silver was accepted by weight, not by name. A coin struck to prove sovereignty ended up reinforcing global dependence. The consequence was scarcity at home. By the close of the century, the draped bust dollar of 1795 was already fading from daily use. New designs, new dates, and new pressures pushed it aside. It had not failed outright, but it had not conquered trust either. It lingered in drawers, strong boxes, and shipping chests, its role unfinished. No one at the mint marked its passing. No ceremony acknowledged its struggle. The coins simply stopped being struck, replaced by variations meant to correct what it could not. Yet the consequences of its short life were already set. Limited production, heavy attrition, early withdrawal from circulation. Those factors would matter later, long after the arguments that shaped them were forgotten. The draped bust dollar of 1795 had absorbed the stress of a nation learning how to function. It bore the marks of compromise, delay, and ambition restrained by reality. That combination would define its future far more than anyone at the mint could have predicted. Time did not soften the draped bust dollar of 1795. It sharpened it. As decades passed, the coin slipped quietly from memory while the nation it served grew louder, larger, and wealthier. New designs replaced old ones. Gold rushed west. Paper money multiplied. The silver dollar of 1795, once judged for its weakness and uncertainty, became something else entirely. It became scarce. And scarcity, unlike trust, grows stronger with time. By the mid-19th century, collectors had begun to look backward. They were lawyers, industrialists, and bankers, men with leisure and capital, curious about the physical origins of the country they now dominated. Early American coins drew their attention not because of beauty alone, but because they carried proof. Proof that the Republic had once been fragile. Proof that power had been improvised. The draped bust dollar of 1795 surfaced slowly in this new world. Many examples were worn smooth from commerce. Others bore adjustment marks from weight corrections before striking. Clean survivors were rare. Fully detailed survivors were rarer still. Each one that appeared told a story of survival against probability. As collecting matured, knowledge deepened. Die varieties were identified. Star counts were studied. Subtle differences in Liberty's portrait in the eagle's wreath became points of obsession. The coin was no longer judged as money. It was judged as evidence. And the evidence was thin. Auction houses learned this lesson first. In 1944, during a time when the world was again at war and gold ownership was restricted, a draped bust dollar of 1795 crossed the block at Stacks in New York. The coin was well preserved, unusually so for its age. Bidding climbed steadily. Collectors understood that opportunities like this did not repeat often. The final price, just over $1,200, stunned observers. It was not the number itself, but what it represented. Respect. That respect only grew. In 1985, at a Bowers and Morena auction, another 1795 draped bust dollar appeared. This one graded extremely fine. The room was quiet as bidding opened. Early American silver had become a serious field by then, populated by specialists who knew the population reports by memory. When the hammer fell near $30,000, it confirmed what insiders already knew. This coin had crossed from collectible into cornerstone. The most dramatic moments came later, under brighter lights. In 2015, a superb example graded MS-66 crossed the auction block at Heritage Auctions. The coin retained strong luster, crisp stars, and a liberty that seemed almost untouched by time. It was the kind of preservation that should not exist, given the coin's original role. Bidding escalated quickly, phone lines active, agents signaling. When the hammer dropped at over $900,000, the room exhaled. The draped bust dollar of 1795 had entered the realm of six-figure mythology. Private sales pushed the ceiling higher still. In 2022, a distinguished specimen with exceptional eye appeal changed hands quietly through a major numismatic firm. The price was never officially published, but industry estimates placed it well above $1 million. No announcement was needed. The message was clear. What drove this escalation was not silver content. It was consequence. The coin represented a moment when the United States could have failed to define its money and did not, even in its imperfections. Even in its short run, the draped bust dollar proved that the Republic could strike silver equal to the world standard. That achievement gained weight as history unfolded. Collectors today do not simply acquire the coin. They inherit its tension. They study the weak strikes and understand the machinery. They see the restrained eagle and recognize a nation still unsure of its posture. They note the limited mintage and trace it back to political hesitation and mechanical limits. Ownership becomes stewardship. Museums now treat the coin with reverence. It appears in exhibitions not as currency, but as an artifact of decision-making. It sits beside documents and portraits, reinforcing the idea that power is exercised not only through laws and armies, but through objects people trust enough to accept in trade. The draped bust dollar of 1795 also reshaped the market itself. Its value helped legitimize early American numismatics as a serious investment category. It drew institutional buyers. It justified scholarship. It set benchmarks that later coins followed. In that sense, its influence extended far beyond its own metal. Yet the coin remains human in scale. It fits in the palm. Its edges show tiny irregularities. Its surfaces, even in the finest examples, reveal faint traces of stress. These are not flaws. They are fingerprints of a nation learning to function. As auction catalogs continue to print its image, each appearance carries anticipation. Will this be the best seen in a decade? Will it reset expectations? Will it vanish again into a private collection for another generation? The suspense never fades, because supply cannot increase. The mint that struck it no longer exists in that form. The moment cannot be repeated. The draped bust dollar of 1795 began as a tool. It became a test. It survived as a witness. Today, it stands as one of the clearest silver links to the Republic's uncertain first steps. Not polished, not perfect, but enduring. And that is why, when it appears under auction lights or behind museum glass, the room always grows quiet. The coin does not demand attention, it receives Italiano. This story, like the coin itself, is brought to you by USA Coins History. If you value deep dives into the objects that shaped American power, like, subscribe, share, and leave your thoughts below. Each comment keeps the conversation alive.